Hey, good morning, basketball fans. It's the Upstate Hoops Podcast here on FingerLakes1.com. I'm Jim Sinacropi, and we're right in the middle of it. Sectional semifinals matchups are set. The opening round games, the quarterfinal round games are done. Friday, Saturday, tons of quarterfinal games. Some of these games just really big matchups. And overall, the Wayne Finger Lakes leagues have done pretty good, especially some girls teams. We're going to go through all the brackets today. It's kind of more of an informal show. There's been so much action right up to last night that I haven't really had a lot of time to put together a bunch of information and run through the script like we do normally every week. There's no guests. It's just going to be me and you guys going through the brackets, talking about them, talking about some of these semifinal matchups. And we don't even know Finger Lakes 1 exactly where we're going to be, but we're going to talk about that a little bit, what games we might cover over the next few days. And then, of course, the crazy thing is we got semifinal matchups on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, one day off. And then Friday night, Blue Cross Arena, Rush Henrietta, Saturday, more finals, championship games. And then after that, we got our champions and a few teams. We'll move on to states, hopefully from the Wayne Finger Lakes. So also, we're going to announce our Wayne Finger Lakes Player Awards here for FL1 Sports, and I guess I could probably start with those. So I'm going to pull those up right now. We'll start with the girls. So this was a tough one. Player of the Year for the girls. It went to Braylon Scott. She has had a double-double every single game this season as she led her Lady Bombers to the Finger Lakes West title and to the semifinals currently for Class C2 sectionals. And the reason this was a really tough call is because Elena Forbes has had an amazing season as well. Maybe the difference being Scott's a senior, Forbes is a junior. Forbes will certainly be our preseason player of the year on the girls' side heading into next year's for Mid-Lakes. But Braylon Scott has had to deal with just some night after night other centers in the Finger Lakes West like Haley Langan and Jade Parsons, and to capture that Finger Lakes West title, the first one in over 10 years, and to just put up the types of numbers she did day in and day out. You know, we're not talking your average double-doubles of 10 points, 11 rebounds. We're talking 32 points and 18 rebounds. So congratulations to Braylon Scott. She's our Girls Player of the Year. I should mention the double-double streak was broken last night in their quarterfinal game. They won, though. I'm sure she's not concerned about the double-double, more concerned with the fact that they're moving on in sectionals, and there still is that potential for a South Seneca-Bloomfield matchup in the finals if both teams win in the semi. So congratulations to Braylon Scott. Moving on to the first team, there's Elena Forbes, of course. She would be the runner-up for Player of the Year. Forbes is just phenomenal to watch play. Probably the best defensive player in the Wayne Finger Lakes. She can hit three-pointers if she needs to. She's a great distributor. She's flashy to watch. A lot of times you won't find girls that play in the manner that she does, in a flashy manner, behind-the-back passes, behind-the-back dribbles, breaking someone's ankles on the way to the basket, great finisher at the rim. And, of course, they still haven't lost, and she is a huge reason why. So they capture the Finger Lakes East title behind Forbes, and that team is young still. So, again, I can call it right now, our preseason Player of the Year heading into next season is going to be Elena Forbes. Kiki Hall from Williamson, that's someone we haven't talked to, but if you look at the box scores, she's scores night in and night out for that Williamson team. And then I mentioned Haley Langan, one of the great centers from the Finger Lakes West. She also put up just huge numbers this year for the Naples girls in terms of points and rebounds. And then Katie Smythe from Pelmac, just a sophomore. Huge reason why for that team's success this year. She missed some time, pretty much the whole month of February before being able to return for sectionals where they lost to Mid Lakes. You can watch that game on Finger Lakes 1. But Katie Smythe is a sophomore making the first team. Lauren Devaney from Geneva, she's just a junior. That's one thing you'll notice about these. Lots of underclassmen. The girls' leagues next year in the Wayne Finger Lakes are going to be really, really good. Logan Castiglione from Waterloo, great career for her, 1,000-point scorer. And then we move on to the second team, and Jade Parsons from South Seneca. South Seneca has had a fantastic season in their own right in the Finger Lakes West, and that's after losing 4 or 5 starters, and she had to step in for Emily Lavarnway, one of the all-time South Seneca great athletes, and she's done more than could be expected in that regard, and that's a huge reason why South Seneca has been able to have the success they've had despite losing so much after back-to-back Final Four trips. And they might be back again. Who knows? They're still alive. And so Jade Parsons, we wanted to recognize her season. She's on the second team. And Fatima Finley from Sodus, again, huge point numbers night in and night out for a team that didn't win a lot of games. But she'll be back next year as well. Sydney Close from Red Jacket. Just a sophomore, one of the best players in the Finger Lakes West. And then we got Izzy Wilbur, just a freshman. Now, we've been talking about her for a couple of years now at Red Creek. She's still in her freshman year. Girl made 3 half-court shots this year. 3. I mean, some kids have a knack for that type of thing, and she's certainly one of them. One of them we saw live at the Chiropractic College in a game against the Minders girls. But Red Creek wins the Wayne County League. She picked up 2 wins against Ganonda late in the season, and that's a good team with a lot of talent. But Izzy Wilbur, as a freshman, is probably the standout for the Rams there. Heidi Miller from Minders, great career for Heidi. Unfortunately, injury sidelined her for sectional play. So the Lady Blue Devils lost in the quarterfinal rounds, ending their season and ending her great career. She's been on varsity since she's an 8th grader, 1,000-point scorer, and just a great girl that certainly we're going to miss here in Seneca Falls. And Jerry Anderson and the rest of the Minders girls program will miss. But an outstanding career for Heidi Miller. Abigail DeFisher from Marion. Marion quietly had a solid year, finishing 3rd in the Wayne County standings. She's just a junior. She'll be back. We go to the 3rd team. Mary Ellen Query from Romulus. Another great career. The Lady Warriors still alive. Andra Savage, for another great player at Pelmac, an underclassman who's going to be back, just a sophomore. Hannah Brown Trice from Minders. Here's just an outstanding female athlete who has had an outstanding career. She's going to play soccer at Lemoyne next year. She has a sectional title last year with the Blue Devils. Basketball and HBT was always fun to watch, just a high motor, never stopped, and she was so important to that Minders team this year, and she's going to be missed, obviously. It seems like we've been covering her for forever as well. Skylar Shawless, South Seneca senior, is trying to make her mark on the program. She was a part of both of those state Final Four runs and a state championship team 2 years ago. This is pretty much her team now as a senior. Last year, it was her sister Kelsey Shawless that she shared time with on the court now. Squarely her team. She's going to try to write some history of her own going forward in the playoffs. Sydney Bloom from Penn Yan, another 1,000-point scorer from the Mustangs, who had an outstanding season. Amelia Poole, one of the great complementary players for Braylon Scott, a great guard, dishes out a lot of assists, and a huge reason for Coach Mike Shunk's success at Bloomfield this year. 4th team, Ladonia Smith from Newark, Peyton Daffler from Ganonda, Jesse Sheehan from Bloomfield, another 3rd complementary part to that Bloomfield team, Sarah Van Aken from Red Jacket, Carol Walker from Mid-Lakes, just a freshman. And if you looked at any of these Mid-Lakes box scores this year, you saw Elena Forbes and Kara Walker every single night. And watching Kara play and having her up in here in the studio, nothing about her resembles a freshman. She's very mature. She's very composed on the court in the way that that when you talk to her, she seems older. But just a freshman. That Mid-Lakes team is going to be incredible next year in the Finger Lakes East. Then you go to Whitman, Jordan Chappelle. Also, Chappelle, Emily Thompson, the Ryan girl for Marcus Whitman, they had a really nice team. But Jordan Chappelle, probably the leader most of those games. Statistically, she's on the 4th team. Then we get to the 5th team. Treasure Bruce from Geneva, just a senior, very athletic, fun to watch play. She missed a little time early in the year. When she came back, Geneva became a lot better. And then Alana Cornicker and Wayne, another girl with an outstanding career. Kadaya Hogan for East Rochester, big numbers, points and rebounds. Alice Mosqueda for Red Jacket, a senior, the senior leader for the Rams, who are still alive in sectionals. Caden Crago from Lions, just a sophomore. That Lions girls program took a step forward this year and had a pretty solid year. And then Jenna McDonald from South Seneca, just a junior, but another reason for the Coach Heather Mott's success down there in Ovid. Coach of the year had to go to Nate Rich, though. They didn't lose a game. They were 10-12 a year ago, and they're still haven't lost a game heading into the semifinals of sectional. So congratulations to our Coach of the Year, Nate Rich. And, of course, honorable mention has to go to Mike Shunk for that Finger Lakes West title. Ed Collins for a great job he did in Geneva, ending up finishing 2nd in the Finger Lakes East behind Mid-Lakes. Mike Krauser for Red Creek, winning that Wayne County title for the first time in school history. And then had to recognize Heather Mott for the job she did. 2 straight Final Fours. They lose Emily Lavarnway, Bailey Mingus, Kelsey Shawless. They lost so much, and she was right there, really just a couple points away from capturing another Finger Lakes West title, and now they find themselves in the semifinals of sectionals, Class C2. So, how about the boys? Let's take a look. Player of the Year, Justice Smith. This should be no surprise to anyone. He was incredible, and he just keeps getting better as the year goes on. 7 triple-doubles this year. In the quarterfinal round of sectionals, 41 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. And that's the thing, these triple-doubles are assists. He's scoring 30, 40 points and dishing out 10 assists. He is everything to this Lions team, who we feel has a really good chance, maybe favorites to win a sectional title in C2 and advance to states. He's the type of kid that puts the team on the back. He's got over the hump with a huge win over Clyde at home earlier this year at the Atwood Gymnasium, and he's unguardable. He's developed a jump shot, a 3-point shot with range up to 25 feet, and he can shoot over everybody. He's probably the best rebounder on the team, and he finds his teammates. One knock that we've had on him here at Finger Lakes 1, and the really good players too, we kind of analyze a little bit closer, but may have been his defense, but he has made a commitment to that this year as well. As a junior, he is our Player of the Year, in the great line of Lions players. And looking down at the first team, now this is kind of interesting. First, you got Logan Blankenberg. Now, Wayne has a big 3 or 4 guys, underclassmen. Of course, Braden Zanilovic being a senior, missed most of the season. But Blankenberg is clearly, I don't know if I say clearly, but probably the most valuable player to that team. Tremendous size, just like Justice Smith. He's tall. He can shoot over people, unlimited range. He's really rounded out his game, though, to include more than just the 3-point shot. Like I said, from unlimited range, he can take it to the basket now. He's a good rebounder. He finds his teammates. Great in that Wayne zone. He's long, and Logan Blankenberg, just a junior on the first team. And then you'll notice that we have 3 Clyde players. Marcus Chance, Derek Chance, Drew Carnevale. I mean, the success that Clyde's had this year, winning another Wayne County title, and these three kids, Marcus Chance scoring 55 points in the last night of the regular season. You kidding me? Derek Chance, going to play football at Brockport, but when you watch him play, the quickness and the stop and go and the basketball IQ, just incredible. And Drew Carnevale, much in the mold of Logan Blankenberg, brings some size. I think that while Carnevale, if he was on a lot of other teams, would score a lot more, but he's got great scores in Chance on the team as well, so he's not getting as many shots as maybe he would, but tall, great shooter, a great passer, really good passer, solid rebounder, the tallest kid on that Clyde team. So that threesome, we've been talking about him all year, still alive in sectionals in Class D1, Chance, and Carnevale, first team. And then for Penn Yan, we went with Dillon State. Basically what he did in the second half of the season, really, Penn Yan finishing third in the Finger Lakes East. They're still alive in the semifinals of sectionals, and State was just State or Desmond Batten, I guess. And if you maybe sometimes it comes down to who's more valuable, but they're both pretty valuable. I mean, it's almost a coin toss here, but Stape, inside the stuff he does, the maturity he brings to that team, got him on our first team. And then Bryce Burry, senior, scored his 1,000th point this year. He's been everything to Mid Lakes for the past 3-4 years. It's a kid that we've been following forever. They lost in the quarterfinals by 3 points to Livonia last night on a 3-point shot at the buzzer. Kind of devastating. When I look at Bryce Burry's career, a lot of great personal accolades, and the team has come so close to getting to those semifinals and making a run at a sectional title. Was never able to see it happen, but a great career for Bryce Burry. He's on our first team. Moving to the second team, Nick Big Country Carmichael, the second Wayne player that we've recognized, one of the best centers in the league, soft touch. He's battling it out in Class A2 right now with other big guys from bigger classification, and he makes the second team. John Lexer from East Rochester, he also had a ton of double-doubles this year for an ER team that beat Lions early in the year. Kind of had a tough draw in C2 or in C1, having to face North Star Christian. They ended their season 99-69, but John Lexer had an outstanding career. We enjoyed watching him play, and always was a member of the FL1 Sports all-hair team as well. Desmond Batten, another member of the FL1 Sports all-hair team. Sometimes he put it up in the cornrows. Outstanding career for Batten. Tremendous athlete. The leader of that Penn Yan team on the court, and one of the best point guards in the Wayne Finger Lakes. Pat Geithner from Bloomfield. He was the first guy this year to score 50, and it kind of opened up the floodgates where the kind of a theme of this season has been the 50-point scores. But Patrick Geithner, look, if you score 50 points in a game, you're probably going to be on this list here. And so he had an outstanding career in Bloomfield, and we'll miss watching him play. And then we go for our first player from Minders, Hunter Host. Getting these Minders kids sorted out here on these rankings was tough. And one thing about Hunter is that he did things for that Minders team that maybe nobody else on the roster was able to do. They had great guards, and you could see where maybe those guards were so complementary of each other. But Hunter Host really just worked up and down the court, on the boards, defensively against bigger kids all year long, and maybe the most valuable player for this Minders team. But Hunter Hoss on the second team. And then you see Derek Saluka from Waterloo in his junior year. Waterloo's a team to look out for next year. They surprised some people with some big wins this year. Saluka scoring a lot of points, and also an all-around game, a lot of assists and a lot of rebounds as well. Derek Saluka, one of the best players, in Waterloo. They've had great players over the years, even though they have won a lot of games. Ben Deming most recently down in Alfred State right now. But congratulations to Derek Sluka, and we look forward to seeing him play next year as well. Third team, Jaden Castrochini from Gananda, great athlete. That Gananda team was small. Castrochini made up for that with his athleticism. Again, just a junior. He's going to be back next year. And then we got the point guard, Billy Thompson from Wayne. Not a guy who goes after a lot of stats in terms of points, but a guy who really runs things out there on the floor. The floor general for Bill Thompson Sr., his coach and father. Billy Thompson, third team, Kellen Caraher, and now there's those three guards reminders. I mean, what are you going to do? Put Kellen Caraher had a huge game last night in sectionals with a career-high 27 points. The game before, Devin Anderson had a career-high with 36 points, 9 three-pointers, school record. Quentin Battle, one of the best defensive guards in the league. So Caraher, Battle, Anderson all find themselves on the third team. I don't think it would be fair to put one of those kids on the fourth team and the other two on the third. I mean, the three of them together have really been a great reason for Minder's success, along with Hunter Haas, and then other kids like Darren Miller and Jesse Cabot shooting threes off the bench. There really are a solid team, and they don't care who gets the stats, but I got to say, those three guards all belong up there on that third team. And then, no, that's not a typo. It's not another Justice Smith on the third team. That's Justin Smith, Tootie, just a freshman. He's had a great season for Lions. The second scoring piece, I suppose, is just a freshman super athlete, Justice's younger brother. So they'll have another year together at Lions next year. He'll be a sophomore and Justice will be a senior. So look out, Wayne County. I mean, if you look at Wayne County next year, I think the best bet in the world is that you're going to see Lions win that league next year. Moving on to the fourth team, Steve Human from Gananda, point guard, huge contributor to that Gananda team. As a senior, recognized now on the fourth team. Marcus Whitman wins the West again. Great record. And, hey, they're still alive in sectionals. And John Donovan, fun player to watch. Just a junior. We'll get to see more of him. Matty Ice Cicero from East Rochester. Had an injury derail his season towards the end, but a great distributor, fun to watch in East Rochester. We'll miss watching him as he graduates this fall. John Marble for Honeoye. This was tough. John Marble, Max Yale, those Honeoye kids, those two in particular, solid scorers and contributors, and played some real exciting games out in the West. Xavier Israel from HAC. Here's a guy who stuffed this box score night in and night out for the Wolves out there. Maybe one of the most overlooked teams here on the Upstate Hoops podcast, just because of their geographic location. But Harley Allendale, Columbia's Xavier Israel. And then Riley McLeod hitting a three-pointer at the buzzer the other night to help his team advance in sectionals and pulling upset seed-wise. He's on there along with his teammate John Donovan. Then we go to the fifth team, Reed Patchett for Geneva. Look out for Geneva next year. They return almost everybody, especially those two big guys, Akeem Hudson and Reed Patchett. The younger guys, some great sophomore guards that are going to be older. They had a good JV team that's going to be moving up. And then there you see Taylor Clements, the big treat on the fifth team. Disappointing season for Newark, no doubt. They're perennially in that chase for the Finger Lakes East title. A little bit down year this year in Taylor's senior year. Overall, great career. He did find himself on ESPN Sports Center, making a full-court left-handed shot in Canandaigua in one of the first couple games of the season. So we're certainly going to miss Taylor Clements. He's got a sectional title. He's with a sectional title under his belt. And then Jaden Peters, just a junior, had some big shooting nights. When he shot it well, that's when Newark won. So he, as a junior, makes the fifth team. He'll be back next year. Lonnie Logans from Sodus, just a sophomore. You're going to hear more from him going forward into next season there. Keem Hudson, I mentioned him along with Reed Patchett. just a junior. And Anthony Ruff, South Seneca boys quietly have turned things around down there in Ovid, finishing towards the middle, upper half of that Finger Lakes West after having some just awful seasons, win-loss wise. And Anthony Ruff running that point for them. And you could have gone to John Zajac Jr., I suppose, as well. But Ruff doing a great job as a junior. He'll be back next year as well. Coach of the Year, got to go to Greg O'Connor, back-to-back titles in the Finger Lakes West, and doing a great job down there. And as I mentioned, they're still alive. We're going to get to the brackets in a second here. And honorable mention, Tim Jackson for Clyde. They did what we expected them to do with that senior-laden team, but a small roster, just 7. He really had to... tough coaching job when you have such little guys. You can't even scrimmage in practice. Bill Thompson from Wayne, winning the Finger Lakes East for the first time in school history outright. Pat Nolan for Palmac. We weren't paying any attention to Palmac, and they finished. I think it was it 4th place in the East. Pat Nolan stepping in after Dan Harris moved over to the girls' side this year. A legendary coach, and now you see why we had to put him as an honorable mention. And then he had to go with Kevin Korzaneski and Minders as well. They lose the player of the year in Jake Mean. They lose 3 starters, and they find themselves now back in the sectional semifinals in the number 1, as they were the number 1 seed in Class B. So Kevin Korzaneski comes out of the broadcast booth here at Finger Lakes FL1 Sports and onto the bench for Minders, and really has got those kids playing well and playing great as a team. So congratulations to all those award winners that I mentioned. And, man, that took a long time to get through. But, following kids like this is one of the reasons that we do what we do. It's a lot of fun, and to get a chance to recognize some of these individuals here is great. Before we get forward to sectionals, you guys saw this stuff that was coming out in the NCAA, the FBI probe of college basketball and some of the big-name programs and some of the, like if you're Sean Miller, you're committing some of these infractions and you're thinking probably, geez, I could get in trouble with the NCAA. But no, these are federal charges that could land you in jail. But the reason I bring that up is that, I love college. I've always loved college basketball. I loved the old Big East Conference. And when Syracuse went to the ACC, just a little part of me died inside, and it just hasn't been the same. And as we head towards the NCAA tournament, March Madness, are some of these teams going to be playing for a title that's going to be vacated in 2 years? And just the whole thing that used to be so fantastic, that I loved so much, just isn't the same. But here we are talking about high school basketball, and the brackets are, being played out in high school basketball. And, if you're a basketball fan, the best basketball right now is high school basketball. And maybe it's not even, I love the Wayne Finger Lakes Leagues. We love Section 5. But wherever you are, these kids are playing for the love of the game. They're the dramatic moments in these sectional games where these seniors may be playing their final game if they lose. You can't beat it. And then the overall goals of sectional titles and trips to state championships. I mean, that's what I want to pay attention to now. College basketball is just really, I'll still watch the Syracuse games. I still root for them. And, when the NCAA tournament comes around. But, man, it's just every year it just gets a little bit worse, in my opinion, with all the scandal and the money and the one-and-dones. And, so it's one reason I like high school basketball. And then don't get me started on the NBA. I can't wait for the NBA season to start in late May, around Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be a great year this year. Who's going to win? Is it going to be Cleveland, Boston? Is it going to be OKC or Golden State? Or Houston maybe? I mean, what they're doing now doesn't even matter. So I know there's a lot of you guys that are NBA fans out there. I'm not one of them, but I do like the semifinals and finals in the NBA, so that's when I start paying attention. Right now, it's all about high school basketball. So let's get to some of the brackets. And first, let's take a look at the remaining teams from the Wayne Finger Lakes. At the top classifications, you just got Mid Lakes. Minders lost. The Penn Yan girls lost. Pelmat girls lost to Mid Lakes. Geneva girls lose in A2. Thought they might be able to make a run, but Elena Forbes and Coach Nate Rich, Kara Walker, Macy Kisner, Claire DeBouver, and Jordan Noya and company, Sydney Pastelacqua. That Mid Lakes team is on the verge of potentially doing something special. C1, you got the top two teams in Wayne County on opposite side of the brackets. Red Creek and Gananda still alive. C2, you got the top two teams in the Finger Lakes West in opposite sides of the bracket still alive, in Bloomfield and South Seneca. Then Marion was alive until they lost to Bloomfield last night. D1 girls eliminated. And then down in D2, if you remember last week, my pick for winning D2 as a fifth seed was the Romulus Lady Warriors. So Damon Nicholson and Mary Ellen Query still alive in D2. Let's kick it now to the boys. The Wayne train is still rolling down the tracks. Big win against Monroe last night. They had a little bit of a deficit early. They fought back and won comfortably. Wayne moves to the semifinals. Class B, Minders. Tough quarterfinal game against a Wellsville team. Really physical game. You can watch that game, the video replay of that game on fingerlakes1.com this morning. And I advise you to watch it. It was an entertaining game. It was a great atmosphere, and the Minders Blue Devils advanced. And if they had lost that game, it would have been devastating for that group of seniors to as one seed to lose at home to Wellsville, a team that the last two times Wellsville met Minders in sectionals, Wellsville won. So good win there for Minders. And that Wellsville team, just keep in the back of your head, they're going to be probably one of the top seeds in Class B next year. They return almost everybody. They're going to be very good. Penn Yan, Desmond Batten, Dylan State, Cade Gerbeau Company, Rivello, Coach Marty Gibson has those Mustangs playing good. And Mid Lakes, oh man, they eliminated last night on a three-pointer at the buzzer. Otherwise, we would have had a Penn Yan Mid Lakes semifinal. So C1, Marcus Whitman, they get North Star Christian next. So you want to talk about David versus Goliath, that would be a huge upset. But we're keeping our fingers crossed, hoping that Marcus Whitman can do what a lot of people think is impossible, and also do what a lot of people really would like to see, as they feel like North Star Christian doesn't belong in Class C1. They belong up in the A classifications. So good luck to Whitman. The last C1 team remaining. C2, Lions, the last C2 team remaining. They move on to the semifinals. And D1, that Clyde Savannah team is rolling. They were up 71-8 at halftime against Fillmore last night in the quarterfinals. And then look at this. This is a semifinal matchup, actually. Honeoye and Naples out of the Finger Lakes West. Kudos to the Finger Lakes West. Naples, Honeoye, Marcus Whitman, still alive. We've been sometimes brutal towards the Finger Lakes West this year on this podcast. And it's great to see three of those teams still alive. And I remember saying multiple times that I didn't think there was a sectional contender in the bunch in the Finger Lakes West. And we still might not see a sectional title, but three teams now just one step away from the finals. And then, so that's that for the brackets, or for the teams remaining. Now, let's go through the brackets, as we really need to start moving along here, man. This hour is flying by fast. And let's start from the bottom of the girls' brackets and move up from there. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Class D2 girls, as I mentioned, Romulus still alive. They have Elba coming up at Dansville on Tuesday night, and the winner goes to Letchworth. The bottom half, the 1 seed Elba, 2 seed Prattsburg. They're both going to be tough for Romulus to overcome, but good luck to the Lady Warriors in that one. D1 girls, No Wayne Finger Lakes teams left there, but Jerry Anderson's pick of York still alive at the 5 seed. They rolled over C.G. Finney en route to the semis. In Class C2, now this one is really something, huh? For us Wayne Finger Lakes fans, and specifically Finger Lakes West basketball. Now, we were hard on the Finger Lakes West boys this year, but the Finger Lakes West girls we recognize as being one of the greatest girls leagues in Section 5 this year, and they're proving it. Oakfield, Alabama, the 1 seed. South Seneca is going to have to match up against Oakfield, Alabama going forward. That's going to be at Honeoye Falls Lima High School on Wednesday, I want to think. Yeah, that would be Wednesday night. And we're going to have some tough decisions to make here at Finger Lakes 1. I can see us going to Honeoye Falls Lima on Wednesday. It's either going to be that or maybe Wayne boys at Victor. There's a few things we got to figure out. We got to figure out who the broadcast team will be and maybe what preference they have. But this doubleheader at Honeoye Falls Lima has a heavy Finger Lakes West flavor to it. And Red Jacket Bloomfield, that's going to be an amazing game. And so if South Seneca can win against Oakfield and advance to their 3rd straight sectional title game, it'll be all Finger Lakes West final at Rush Henrietta a week from yesterday. So this is all going to happen fast here. By this time next week, we're going to have our sectional champions in every classification of Section 5, all 16 classifications of Section 5. Here's another great bracket. If you're a Wayne County basketball fan, you got a possibility of Red Creek Gananda final. That was the big rivalry in the Wayne County Girls League this year. Gananda has had a stranglehold on that league for the past few years. Red Creek won it this year. Gananda could get a 3rd shot at the Rams at Rush Henrietta next Saturday if they both win. Gananda has to play a higher seed in Letchworth, the 2 seed who's looked good so far in these playoffs, and then Red Creek will face Batavia Notre Dame, and they still haven't announced where exactly that game's going to be. Let me see if they got it down there now yet. Just give me 1 second here, and I'll see what date is that. That would be the 28th, and oh, look at that. It's going to be at Bloomfield High School. No, yeah, okay, so that's not going to be a doubleheader. Red Creek's going to play Notre Dame at Bloomfield High School. It'll be no. Letchworth Gananda, and then Red Creek Notre Dame, a doubleheader at Bloomfield High School on Wednesday, the 28th. So, and then Red Jacket Bloomfield and Oakfield, Alabama, South Seneca will be at Honeoye Falls Lima. So a couple of great doubleheaders there. It's frustrating we can't cover all these games. We're going to have some tough choices to make. Wish we could be at them all. If you want to become part of our team, send me an email. Send it to contact@fingerlakes1.com. Say, hey, I want to get involved. We need producers. We need cameramen. We need technicians. And we need announcers, play-by-play announcers. Color commentators are kind of easy to come by. But actually, I shouldn't say that. I love the guys that we have behind the mic on color. They bring so much to the broadcast. A lot of ways, they're the stars of the broadcast. But I have a lot of color guys to choose from. Play-by-play guys. Right now, there's just 3 of us here at Finger Lakes. There's myself, Dave Barnick, and Brendan Harrington. So, if you want to become part of our team for next season, we want to organize things so maybe we can cover more games. We've already expanded on our equipment, but we need to staff it. So, Class B girls, Mid-Lakes rolls along. Miners with a tough task to go all the way to Bath Haverling without their senior center Heidi Miller. And then unfortunate maybe that Mid-Lakes and Pelmac had to meet in the quarters. That might have been a great semifinal matchup, but good luck to Mid-Lakes in the semifinals on Monday night. That game will be at Honeoye Falls Lima as part of a doubleheader with that Dansville-Bath Haverling game. Mid-Lakes 1 step away from the sectional finals. In Class A2, Geneva lost to Batavia. So now that's going to be Aquinas and Pittsford Sutherland and HFL versus Batavia. in that semifinals in A2, and then quickly in A1, Canandaigua girls still alive. They're going to take on Irondequoit at Eastridge High School on Monday, and they'll face the winner of Pittsford, Mendon, and Brighton. And in AA, Victor girls fall to Penfield, so it's Penfield versus Mercy. Now that Webster Thomas Shorter game's being played today at 3 o'clock, so it's the only game today in all of Section 5, girls or boys. The winner gets Kearney, and they'll be at Pittsford Sutherland for the semis. And so now let's kick it over to the boys. Let me just catch my breath for a second here. So great for the girls. On the girls' side, lots of teams, especially in those lower classifications. The Finger Lakes West girls having a great postseason. The Mid Lakes girls continuing that dream season in Clifton Springs. We were there for that Mid Lakes Palmac game, and you could just tell when a team has something special going, the way the community comes out and the excitement. It really is something that was kind of unexpected, although it's built to this point. So it's not like they're Cinderellas or anything. They were 20-0 in the regular season, but I think throughout most of the season, I thought, geez, the Mid Lakes girls they're great, but I didn't know exactly how good they are. I'm board with them now. I think they're favorites to win that and potentially make a run in states and find themselves at Hudson Valley Community College. So. Yes. Excuse me here. Let's get the brackets back up now for the boys. We're going to start at the bottom here as well. D2. Just one Wayne Finger Lakes team. That was Romulus boys. They lost in the first round. Let's move it on to D1. Holy cow. Honeoye Naples. That's a rivalry game, guys. And it's not going to get much more of a rivalry than this one. And I actually got to tell you, see if I can find out where this game is going to be played on Monday night, these D2 games. And it's going to be... Is that Monday night? No, that's going to be Tuesday night. Excuse me. Yeah, Tuesday night. And those games are going to be at Bloomfield. So a familiar gym for both Naples and Honeoye. It's not an advantage to either one because they're playing each other. Clyde Savannah, I don't think they've ever played in Bloomfield. They'll be facing Mount Morris in the semifinals there. Clyde Savannah, huge favorites at this point in this classification to not only advance to the Blue Cross but to win. Clyde versus Naples or Honeoye in the final. Boy, that would be a Hoosiers-type upset for one of those West teams to knock off Clyde Savannah. But the way it can happen, early foul trouble for one of the big three from Clyde. Maybe Marcus Chance with an off-shooting night. Drew Carnevale gets into foul trouble. Maybe, like I say, at the Blue Cross Arena, it's a tough place for shooters. It's a different environment. But I'm really finding it difficult to see how Clyde Savannah can lose at this point. But Naples and Honeoye, to get to this point and have that matchup in the semifinals in Bluefield, that is going to be a fantastic scene. And we might be down there. We might do that game. I don't know. It's either that or the Class B, which we'll get to in a while, the Class B semifinals doubleheader. But look at that, D1. Congratulations to Naples and Honeoye and to Tim Jackson and Clyde. Let's see if the Clyde Savannah Eagles, they're a team with state title aspirations as well. Don't want to put too much. You want to win the sectional title first, but there's a handful of teams that maybe could get to states, and Clyde Savannah is one of them. C2, the Lions. Lost in the semifinals last year to Geneseo. I don't want to call it an upset because once we got there and saw how good Geneseo was, it was tough to say that they were upset. They were a very good team. Lions favorites here, though, against the 7-seed Cuba Rushford Rebels. And that game is going to be Monday night. And that game is going to be in Bath Haverling, which is a really nice modern gym. But quite a ride for people from Lions. And again, I'm not announcing anything. That's one of the games we're looking at possibly doing on Monday night live on Finger Lakes 1. So FL1 radio, and then we'll record it and play it for you later if we do indeed go to do that game. That's just a single game, though, down there in Bath. No doubleheader. But Lions, looking at a potential Perry or C.G. Finney final in the Blue Cross Arena. Justice Smith never played in the Blue Cross Arena yet, never made it out of the sectional semifinals in his first 2 years. I think they're heavy favorites to do it, but if history is served, you can't assume anything once you get to this point in sectionals. They're all good basketball teams. In Class C1, the Marcus Whitman Wildcats with a Riley McLeod three-pointer at the buzzer to beat Leroy 54-53. Now they got North Star Christian, and this is a thing. We've pretty much agreed in a roundtable last week here on the Upstate Hoops Podcast that North Star Christian is not a C1 team, that they should be in AA. But nonetheless, here they are. So because of this, an East Rochester Marcus Whitman semifinal would have been great. Now the task is tall for Marcus Whitman and Coach O'Connor. The Brown brothers for North Star. North Star won sectionals last year, defeating Gananda. Gananda gave them a game, though, but they're better this year. North Star's better this year. Clear number 1 seed in C1. They probably would have been the favorite in Class B. They maybe have been the favorite in Class A2. But now Marcus Whitman, season on the line, trying to pull that huge upset. And that game will be on Monday night, and that game will be at Bloomfield High School. So North Star and Marcus Whitman at Bloomfield. The second half of that doubleheader will be Perry and C.G. Finney in C2. So not the same classification, but they're playing that doubleheader at Bloomfield High School. And so one advantage maybe for Whitman is they're familiar with the Bomber Barn in Bloomfield. They should bring a nice contingent of fans, and 32 minutes, maybe they can pull the upset. I can tell you all of Section 5, other than fans of North Star, will probably be rooting, or all of C1 will be rooting for Whitman. And actually, I bet you that the classification placement committee who put North Star in C1 is probably rooting for Marcus Whitman, because they've taken a lot of slack this year for putting them in a position where they should be clear favorites to win C1. Although Pembroke, undefeated, Gananda gave them a pretty good game in the quarters, but the Mid Lakes girls are undefeated. The other undefeated team, Pembroke. So Pembroke might be able to upset them too. And Avon's a tough team too. That's not going to be an easy win for Pembroke in the semis. So we'll see who gets to the Blue Cross Arena from there in C1. And here's Class B. For the second straight year, Minders and Livonia are in the semis, and for the second straight year, there's 2 Finger Lakes East teams in the semis. Greece Odyssey will be Minders' opponent on Tuesday night. Livonia will be Penn Yan's opponent. I think Penn Yan and Livonia squared off this year in the regular season. Could it be the third straight year with an all Finger Lakes East final at the Blue Cross? That would really be something if it was. Now, this semifinal game on Tuesday night is going to be at Marcus Whitman High School. It looks like a doubleheader at Marcus Whitman. Last year, the doubleheader with Minders and Newark and Livonia and early college, that was at Victor High School. It's going to be at Whitman. Now, that's a problem for us. If there's one place in all of Section 5 where there's absolutely zero cell service, it's inside the gym at Marcus Whitman. So we can't do a live game from there. We can't even get a live audio stream. You can't make a cell phone call from inside that gym. And this is normally we would cover any FL East Class B semifinal. So we're going to see if we can't get access through the school, but it's really difficult. It's such a short lead time, and a lot of it will depend on the cooperation of the IT staff over at Marcus Whitman if we're going to be here, because we have other options. So we're not going to go and set up at Marcus Whitman and not be able to bring you that live audio stream of these games. But that's our preference. We would love to be at Marcus Whitman if technically, we can make it possible. Of all the gyms, though, that's the one. That is the one. Bloomfield's tough, too, but we've been able to work with their IT staff, so we're set for any games in Bloomfield. But Marcus Whitman, we're going to have to see. And I know that a lot of Minders fans and Penn Yan fans are going to expect us to be there. We're going to try, but if we're not, that's going to be why. We're not going to go there unless I know that we have access to get that live stream out to the world. Otherwise, we're wasting everybody's time. When there's other great options on Tuesday night for places for us to be, like there's other great options. Off the top of my head, I'm not coming up with anything, but I know there is. We're going to look at this stuff over the next few days. Actually, we don't have time. We're going to look at this stuff like this afternoon. The next few days, it doesn't work like that in sectionals. Games start Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We want to know where we're going to be by the time I go to bed tonight. A2. The Wayne train rolls on, and in A2, as great a season as Wayne has had, and the fact that they're defending champs, I think that most of people still feel like they're a bit of an underdog in A2. They beat Monroe. Now they got Honeoye Falls Lima. I think I don't want to say it's a little easier than Batavia, but Batavia was scary. And if I was Coach Bill Thompson and I was looking at tape of Batavia, I would be scared. Now, that's not to say Honeoye Falls obviously beat Batavia, so that's not to say that they can't be a tougher opponent for Wayne than Batavia would be. But Wayne versus Honeoye Falls Lima at Victor High School Wednesday night. It's the late game. It'll be the last of all the semifinal games. I think it'll be like 8:15 they tip off. We're going to see if we're going to be there or somewhere else on Wednesday night. Again, we're not making any announcements on this podcast where we're going to be. Probably, though, by later tonight, we'll have something on FingerLakes1.com showing our live broadcast schedule for the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we're going to be at the Blue Cross Arena. We're going to also try to get to Rush Henrietta. We're going to try to get every single game we can featuring a Wayne Finger Lakes team in the finals. But again, it's super challenging. 2 locations the same day. It's a challenge, no doubt. Top half of this A2 bracket, Leadership Academy, Northeast, Douglas College Prep. Wayne beat Douglas Prep pretty easily. Leadership is a favorite, though. A Wayne Leadership final. Wayne would be the underdog at the Blue Cross, but boy, that would be great to see as Wayne tries to defend that A2 title, get back to states, maybe a rematch with Irondequoit. They played him towards the end of the season here, the last week of the season, in an out-of-league game. They gave him a tough game. Last year in the state playing game, they gave him a tough game. Maybe the third time would be a charm, but a lot of work for Coach Bill Thompson to do. And we're also looking at potentially every time that Wayne hits the floor now, the last game for Braden Zanelovic, who missed most of the football season and basketball season with that injury suffered as he was quarterback of the football team back in September. So the rest of those juniors will be back for another run. And quickly, let's look at the rest of the classifications in A1. Athena and Mendon, Irondequoit and Sutherland. Pretty much chalk there. 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds. Moving on Wednesday night at Webster Schroeder. See who gets to the Blue Cross Arena. And then, of course, a popular and exciting class, AA, features Fairport as the 1 seed, taking on McQuaid. And then Hilton and UPrep. So it should be a great, if you're up there at the Blue Cross to watch a finals game and your game is like near the AA game, you should stay. And it's bigger than the other games in terms of it feels almost like a college basketball atmosphere. The arena gets fuller than it does for the other classifications. And, Fairport's huge. And there'll be a sea of red there in the Blue Cross if Fairport should make it there. So, holy cow. So, yeah, we did it. We did every single classifications. We did our Player of the Year awards. There's no script here this week. There's no script. That was all off the top of my head. And not that I think it was that impressive. I didn't give you too many stats or details, just kind of an overview and kind of a recap here as we're now halfway through the sectional playoffs, the semifinal rounds. And I got to tell you, it is exciting. It is exciting time of year for a college basketball fan. It also means that the weather is turning, and the long-term forecast is showing a bit of a break. Once again, just want to wish good luck to the girls' teams that remain. You're talking about Mid-Lakes, Red Creek, Gananda, Bloomfield, South Seneca, and Romulus. So the south end of Seneca County is alive and well in the girls' basketball playoffs, and the Finger Lakes West and Wayne County is representing in the postseason. Mid-Lakes carries the banner for the Finger Lakes East now, traditionally one of the more successful in leagues in Section 5 for girls basketball. Just Mid-Lakes remains. And then on the boys' side of things, it is the Wayne train rolling on in A2. Another Finger Lakes East semifinal doubleheader featuring two Finger Lakes East teams of Minders and Penn Yan. Mid-Lakes was so close to making it a Penn Yan Mid-Lakes semi. Would have been incredible to see that. And then Marcus Whitman going to try to be giant killers when they take on North Star Christian. Lions against Cuba Rushford in the semis, Justice Smith trying to get to the Blue Cross Arena for the first time. And then look down at D1, Clyde Savannah right where we thought they'd be, but Honeoye and Naples could be one of the most exciting semifinal games in all of Section 5. Huge rivalry. They're going to be facing off in Bloomfield. So, man, I don't know what else to say here. Thanks for spending the last hour with me here as we went through it all. And now is where things get real. Some of the stuff that happens now is stuff that kids will remember for the rest of their lives, that fans will remember. So you're going to see some heartbreaking losses and some thrilling victories. And these kids now on the boys' side are just one step away from playing in the Blue Cross Arena, one win away. And to me, the semifinal games in the high school gyms are actually a little more exciting than maybe the finals in the Blue Cross are. But if you're a kid, you want to get to the Blue Cross, and you're so close. You work so hard, so many years, all the AAU tournaments, all the practices, all the bus rides, and now you're one win away. So good luck to all the Wayne Finger Lakes teams as we are just one step away now on the road to the big house. And all you girls teams, Rush Henrietta is on those finals, or Letchworth if you're in the D classification for the girls. They're all one step away from a chance to play for a sectional title. So that about does it here on the Upstate Hoops Podcast. Thanks for joining us. As usual, subscribe to us on Twitter. Look for us on Stitcher.com and iTunes for the audio-only version. Look for us on Finger Lakes channel 1302, I think it is, or 04. They moved us up from like 12 all the way up there. And check back later tonight and tomorrow morning for the announcement of what games we're going to do and where we're going to be over the next few days. Check out the video replays of the Pelmac Mid-Lakes game and the Minders Wellsville boys game. And until you will be hearing from us soon, tomorrow night, somewhere Monday night, for semifinal action as we move closer to crowning our sectional champs here on fingerlakes1.com. So thanks for being with us.